Welcome one and all to V8's Online's live broadcast of the New Zealand and Australian iRacing Formula Renault 2.0 Championship, Round 7 from Circuit Park, Zandvoort. We're going to the Netherlands for Round 7 of this championship, and we are looking to see some fantastic racing tonight as usual. My name is Reese Gardner, and joining me in the commentary box is Cameron Dance. As always, Cam, we're ready to go Formula Renault 2.0 racing again.
Yes, we are indeed, Reese. Yes, it's going to be hopefully another very close night of racing by the looks of it, by the way that practice times are showing up. Very close in the mid-pack, especially with it being separated by barely a few tenths. So hopefully we're looking forward to what is going to be another spectacular night of racing.
Yeah, certainly. So practice here at the historic Circuit Park Zandvoort, one of only two major racetracks that the Netherlands has at the moment, but certainly considered to be one of the best in the world due to its undulating nature and some very high-speed turns. Gary Hamilton is currently topping the timesheets in practice with about 25 minutes to go in the practice session. He's about 6 tenths ahead of Edward Van Velsen in second place, with Riley Preston in third, 1 minute 32.413. And as you said, Cam, from second back to about 11th, these guys are really close.
Yeah, they are. It's very close and quite good to actually see how close they are, actually. So, yeah, I reckon we're going to have quite a few battles on our hands tonight.
Yes, indeed we will. Well, Circuit Park Zandvoort and the Formula Renault 2.0. Zandvoort is known for its prevalence, I guess you could say, in open-wheel racing. It hosted the Formula One Dutch Grand Prix from the 60s to the 80s, and recently it's become a sort of lower-level open-wheeler feature. European Formula 3, Euroboss, all of those championships in the European sphere. They've visited Zandvoort, as has DTM, which is technically a touring car championship, but it's popular to say that they're touring cars that have they're basically more open-wheeler than true touring cars. So these are these stiff and quick machines. You could say they're at home here, but not always, because this track is extremely bumpy in places, and it's got some curbs that will turn you around at the drop of a pin.
Yeah, definitely. It's a track that requires quite a high downforce setup, so it's going to be interesting to see how these guys can haul the car around. And yeah, it's from a driver's point of view, it's definitely a very interesting and fun track to drive.
Yeah, it certainly is. It's got a few overtaking opportunities as well. It's got of course the first turn, Tarzan, allegedly named after a local farmer who had to give up his vegetable garden in the sand dunes so the track could be built here. It's a very fast banked first turn, and it's not really a turn that you can get easily. There's a few possible lines through it, and of course you've got turn 4, the turn 4 hairpin that takes you down at the back of the pits before the long sweeping undulations over the sand dunes up to the top of the circuit. And another few overtaking spots here and there, so there's more than enough places to stick it up the inside. Scott Newton, meanwhile, has gone to second in the practice session, with Dylan Shepherd in third. So around about 1 minute 30 is the lap time that we can expect around here in qualifying. A 30-lap race is awaiting us at the end of this session. So, looking at the championship standings now, certainly very interesting set of championship standings, because we've had quite a few drivers be very inconsistent in terms of finishing, and as I'm looking at this, it's quite the interesting standings indeed.
Yeah, it definitely is, with Kurt Stenberg obviously leading the championship at the moment. Back to that whole to finish first you must finish adage. So yeah, it's more about being consistent and staying out of trouble, which Stenny has done throughout the season so far. So yeah, we're only 4 rounds in after tonight, so not too far into the championship to be confirming where you reckon you'll probably be come the end of the season. But yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting to see what happens tonight and through the rest of the season.
It certainly is. Currently on board with Dylan Shepherd, who is the second place driver in the championship standings right now. He ended up winning round 2 and unfortunately didn't score any points in round 3, but the second place finish that he scored in round 1 has definitely helped him there. It is quite interesting to see Kurt Stenberg at the top because he has not been on the podium once for this entire season. But yeah, as you said, Cam, to finish first you must finish. And I want to just clarify, I think I introduced this as round 7 of the championship. I must have got it confused with another championship because, as you said, it is definitely round 4 at Circuit Park Zandvoort. My apologies to the viewers for that little confusion. In terms of the Teams Championship, we've got Apex Replicas TTR Rising Stars leading the championship standings. Of course, that is Kurt Stenberg and Emily Jones, who unfortunately has not had a very good season so far. She did have a very good finish at round 2, but the rest of the rounds of the season, she's either not been there or been caught up in some very unfortunate incidents. Nonetheless, TTR currently leading the Teams Championship with Evolution Racing Team. Very strong second in the championship standings with Performance Motorsports in third.
Yeah, it's very close as well by the looks of it for the Teams Championships, with only 6 points separating Evolution Racing Team and TTR Rising Stars. And then you go back to Performance Motorsports, who are 107. So it's fairly close as far as the championship goes at the moment, and we're only in the early stages. So I can only imagine what it's going to be like when we get to the end of the championship, and it'll probably be very close.
Yeah, it certainly will. Watch out for this because I guess you could say if there's one thing that the field as a whole has been lacking in this series, it's consistency. We haven't really seen anyone put together as a super consistent campaign outside of Kurt Stenberg, and all the people that we've seen up the top. They haven't turned up for all the rounds, or they've been involved in incidents that have put them back. So we should if the first 3 rounds are anything to go by, we should expect more of the same here at Zandvoort, which should certainly throw up the championship once again. But I'm looking forward to seeing what happens when we tick over to qualifying in about 18 minutes time and see how that goes.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be very interesting to see. Again, going back to the whole you must finish to finish first. So, yeah, not sure whether it's going to be another race of attrition like it was at Suzuka, but we'll have to wait and see, I guess.
Yeah, certainly will. Interestingly enough, I'm having a look at the championship standings, and I actually can't see Gary Hamilton anywhere in there. So this must be the first race that he's actually done in this series. Well, he's certainly making a good case for himself in that pole position, 1 minute 31.694. He's just coming down into turn 1 to start a new lap. He is on a flyer, this magnificent banked first turn, shifting up into third gear on the exit, and then you've got this lovely sweeping banked right-hander that goes straight into another banked hairpin. This circuit was designed by John Hugenholtz, who is the same man who designed Suzuka, which we raced at last week. At least this first section of the track.
Yeah, it's definitely very, very challenging as far as how you have to get around here with all the undulations and bumps and everything. You definitely have to be committed as far as most of the high-speed corners go, but then there's also double apex corners, so you have to kind of think ahead before you enter the corner, more or less, like we had at Suzuka.
Yeah, that's 100% correct, and it's also got its fair share of straight sections, like what Hamilton is coming down to now. He is currently on the part of the circuit that is newer, down into this chicane that is a little strange. It's sort of somewhere between a chicane and a hairpin, sort of mixing the two somewhat, and then you've got these final 2 right-handers, both that was third gear, that one, and then this is basically flat out in any high downforce car, this final turn at Zandvoort. then it's back onto the start-finish straight, a very challenging set of corners to finish off the lap, and Hamilton is going to set a 32.319 on that one. So even if he hadn't set that blistering 31.6, that time would still have put him in about 5th place. And birthday boy Bo Albert is currently lapping the circuit. Let's have a look at the rear wing here. Fantastic stuff. Birthday boy, brilliant stuff. Happy birthday, Bo. Of course, one of the newer members of our V8's online commentary team. He has joined our director and showrunner, Jay Kennedy, for Thursday Night IMSA in the last few weeks. Of course, there won't be a Thursday Night IMSA broadcast this week because Jay's taken some time off. So Jay and Bo will definitely be back next week to please your eardrums as we look at the IMSA official championship. But happy birthday, of course, to Bo. It's a good start to his new year. I say new year, but I don't know how old he has turned, so I can't say for sure any grand statement like that. But with him winning a couple of rounds ago in Porsche Carrera Cup Australia and helping his teammate Scott Larnack to a 1-2 in that series, he's had a really good last couple of weeks.
Yeah, he definitely is. He's just another year younger, as we like to say. But it's definitely... He's, with the fact that he's also now officially a Evolution Racing Team driver, having graduated from the ERT Hornets, he's definitely picked up the pace and he's definitely got it to show as well. So it'll be interesting to see how he progresses and how he comes along in the next few years.
Yeah, certainly will be, Bo, in that shiny new Logitech G livery. Of course, Logitech G just signing on for another year with Evolution Racing Team, so congratulations to them once again for that. Bo getting on the throttle nice and hard, even swerving a little bit. I think he might be having a couple of problems with tyre heat. Meanwhile, Riley Preston has gone to second on a 31.8, so he's just pipped Scott Newton for the coveted spot of best of the rest behind Gary Hamilton. Of course, that's doing a bit of a disservice to Riley, that statement, because he is a very accomplished sim racer in his own right.
Yeah, definitely. I think we do have 7 different teams in the top 7, actually, by the looks of it, which is quite interesting to note. But yeah.
Dynamic Sim Racing, Gary Hamilton, Riley Preston, ERT, Scott Newton, Apex Racing UK, Edward Van Velsen, PRM, Real Parity Motorsports. That's the, as Riley Preston, goes to the top on a 31.6. Getting our team names a little confused here. But yeah, that's a very interesting note. The top 7 places taken by guys from 7 different teams. That's absolutely fantastic. It shows how competitive this championship is at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. It's always awesome to see it to be as competitive as it is at the moment. Obviously, Riley Preston, with himself being at the top for ERT, and also being one of the Australian pro drivers in the current iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series for NX, I think it is, or Orion, sorry, now that I remember. But he's definitely come out of the box and definitely showing everybody how quick he is. So it's going to be interesting to see how he goes tonight.
Yeah, of course. Preston, of course, has a bit of history in open wheelers at some of the highest levels in iRacing. He's raced in the Grand Prix Series, and I believe he has raced in the Drivers' World Championship as well, with that black stripe on his helmet. So Preston versus Hamilton at the top, looking extremely close right now. Currently on board with Gary Hamilton as he comes out of the final turn. Brilliant final turn at Zandvoort, flat out. Let's see what time he can set here, a 32.186. So, again, not an improvement on his personal best. However, certainly not a lap time to sneeze at. Just try to pick a line through Tarzan, and it looks like he's pulling over and finishing up that little run. So let's go to Edward Van Velsen, see what he's up to. He's currently coming through the back half of the circuit. And now, whoa, and there's a spinner behind him. That was Riley Blythe. This is one of the most challenging braking zones on the circuit. It's very bumpy. You can't cut that curb too much, and this long banked sort of hairpinny sort of turn really throws up some interesting possibilities for car control. So Van Velsen, he's certainly done well for himself in this series on a few separate occasions. He's shown pace, currently in 4th at the moment on a 32.186. Let's see what he can do here. That's a 32.18. No, I believe he started a lap. So
definitely a spot looks for it.
Yeah, coming through the flowing first half of Circuit Park Zandvoort once again. Those curbs, got to be very careful of them. Oh, as Van Velsen loses it straight into the wall, and off goes the front end of his car. That's a very easy thing to do, though, with the curbs on this part of the circuit being as high as they are. You don't want to touch them at all in these Formula Renaults because you'll just be sent around and you'll have no opportunities to recover. And Van Velsen is doing the the realistic thing and reversing into the escape road there, going back to the garage. So currently on screen now, AJ Bear, a guy that we've seen quite a bit of in this series. Unfortunately, I don't think he's had quite the season that he wanted. He's been caught up in a few incidents that could have been avoided, and he's had a bit of trouble with his car from the looks of it. However, he has got pace, and I wouldn't be surprised if he can have an incident-free event, and we should see him nearer to the top.
Yeah, definitely. He's got quite a bit of pace in him, and he's unfortunately been caught up in a few incidents that realistically probably shouldn't have, but that's how the cookie crumbles at the end of the day sometimes. But yeah, if he doesn't get involved in any incidents, he should have a fairly good night tonight.
Yeah, he certainly should. Interesting observation to make, actually, is that championship leader Kurt Stenberg is not here at the moment. I don't know if he wasn't planning to race this round or he's had some real life issues get in the way, but yeah, that leaves the championship lead up for grabs, and I wouldn't be surprised if Dylan Shepherd will take that championship lead, provided, of course, he can keep it together himself.
Yeah, I'm not sure where Sydney is tonight. He doesn't appear to be on TeamSpeak or Discord, so yeah, not sure where he is, but Dylan Shepherd will definitely be making the most of this opportunity with him being absent.
Yeah, but of course, we can't forget Scott Newton, who is, again, currently in 3rd place on the practice timesheets. He's shown magnificent pace in this series. He was controlling the race effectively at the test round at Laguna Seca, but unfortunately, he got crossed up, hitting a bollard, which destroyed the downforce of his car. So he has a bit to work on, Scott Newton, but he's in 3rd place at the moment in the championship standings with a 3rd place and a win last round at Suzuka. So it will be interesting to see. It looks like we've just got word that Kurt Stenberg is still at work and he won't be able to make it home in time. So unfortunately, Stenny won't be able to enjoy the fruits of his consistency here in the New Zealand and Australian iRacing Formula Renault 2.0 Championship. I'll get it right one day, won't I, Cam?
Yeah, you will.
I'll get it at the final round, Jay says. So, oh boy, it's been a long day.
It's a long championship as well, so we've got plenty of time to practice it.
We certainly do. I should probably put it on a tape recorder and just put it on loop while I sleep. That would be interesting. Oh my God, Jay! Did the viewers hear that? Oh no, the viewers didn't hear that. Oh goodness! Typical director commentary banter. Just make sure that I get the championship name right before I loop it. Otherwise, I'm going to be stuck saying it the wrong way forever, eh? No love lost between me and Jay Kennedy, you can tell.
Definitely.
Mitchell McLeod in car 40, I'm noticing, in seventh place on a 32.49 as he has a little bit of a problem with his rear end in that left-hander. So, nonetheless, McLeod actually turning up for practice. And we're hearing 10 different teams in the top 11, which is, for lack of a better term, insane.
Yes, definitely. It's very well mixed up, so it'll be interesting to see how it goes from qualifying and the race. As McLeod, oh, that's a big stop there.
That was, oh goodness me!
You might be feeling a bit dizzy after that.
Yeah, that was spectacular. Hopefully that doesn't happen in the race. Riley Preston on screen at the moment in car 55. Looks to be coming through the back half of the circuit now. One of my personally least favourite turns he just exited. That just tightens up around the middle, but it's sweeping on entry and exit. So I don't know. He's obviously having a better time of it than I ever would because he's the one at the top of the timesheets, and I'm here in the commentary box.
Yeah, it's interesting because some of these corners you have to take a late apex due to the way the corner profile is. So yeah, it's quite a challenging track, but at the end of the day, it is rewarding if you get it right.
It certainly is, and it is wide enough to promote good racing as well. Of course, having a look at Riley as he comes down the start-finish straight, coming into Tarzan, I have mentioned that it is a very banked corner. It's much faster than it looks. But its banked nature means that you can hold the outside through there, and often it's an advantage to be on the outside coming into the corner because you can make use of the traction, and through this section of the circuit, you can easily get in front of the guy you're battling with.
Yeah, definitely. There's also one key thing about turn one, and that's if you're on the inside, it actually tightens up heading into turn one after the braking zone due to the way the pit exit is. So these guys will definitely have to be careful in terms of making a move up the inside at turn one, and also making sure they don't compromise their exit out of turn four.
Yeah, certainly. Fulton Penny currently on screen, along with his teammate Jordan McDonnell. New signings to Performance Motorsports. Of course, their first race for the team was last week at Suzuka, so they'll be looking to make more good impressions in their first races for their new team. Fulton Penny currently in 12th on a 32.755, and I tell you what, it's very, very close around his section of the field. 2 positions ahead of him is Chris Burgess, only about 9 hundredths ahead of him, and Jordan McDonnell only 2 hundredths of a second behind Fulton. So it will be interesting to see how that turns out when we get to the race. But of course, we've still got qualifying to go, of which we only have 2.5 minutes left until we tick over to that.
Yeah, definitely. Looking at the practice times as well, it's a second separating 4th to 16th. So it's very close in that mid-pack range. So I would say we're probably going to see quite a large train of cars battling for those mid-pack positions come the race time.
Certainly, and hopefully they all come out of it in one piece. I know last round at Suzuka we had quite a few battles that were looking to be really interesting and scintillating ones, but then one of the people involved in the battle spun and nothing ended up coming of it, which was a little depressing from a commentary point of view, but nonetheless, it happens in racing sometimes. Zandvoort is a much shorter track than Suzuka is, so hopefully we won't see as many cars spread out as last round.
Yeah, definitely. Hopefully it's a lot more compressed and less spread out like it was last round, and also hopefully we have a few more finishes as well, with it only being about 8, I believe it was, if I'm not mistaken, last round, with unfortunately people making minor mistakes and losing the concentration.
Yeah, minor mistakes that turned into very major damage in a few cases. I think I remember Kurt Stenberg touring around the circuit for a few laps with no front end, which was an interesting sight to behold. But, of course, that's par for the course when you race in these fragile little low-level open-wheel cars. Nonetheless, with 1 minute to go until qualifying, the current state of play is Riley Preston still on top, Gary Hamilton in second, Scott Newton in third place, with Edward Van Velsen and Dylan Shepherd rounding out the top 5 in practice. And it looks like we've got a very good field here at Zandvoort. Of course, we saw a smaller field than usual at Suzuka, but it looks like we have 23 drivers in the server, with Robert Northway currently loading up. So it's a very good field for this round.
Yeah, it definitely is. It's going to be very, very busy into turn 1 and also on the first few laps. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this race plays out and how well these guys can keep it together and not cause carnage.
Yeah, here's hoping. The seconds tick away, and we're going to flip over to the 15-minute qualifying session now. A little reminder for viewers and a little bit of an introduction for people who are new to this. Hello, if you're watching us for the first time, welcome. We hope you enjoy the upcoming broadcast. The habit that the drivers have gotten into for qualifying is to do very long runs. Of course, it depends on the weather. It looks like a cool-ish track as they file out to begin the qualifying session. 34-degree track temperature, clear conditions with 20-degree air temperature. So we should see some long-ish runs, because this Formula Renault car, it does take time to get its tires up to temperature, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. It's a bit longer than most cars on iRacing, with the fact that they have tyre warmers, but most cars on iRacing that don't tend to only take a few laps to get their tyres up to temp, but this thing tends to take more than a few. So yeah, these guys will definitely be wanting to try and get as much temp as possible on their warm-up laps, and also with it being a much cooler track as well, they'll also be able to put in a few more laps than they usually would be able to.
Yeah, they certainly will. Well, as they come round to start their first laps, I'm just taking a look to see who is leading the way, so we can see the initial attempts at a qualifying lap. Yeah, looks like Bo Albert is indeed leading the charge, as it were. Comes down through the final sector of the circuit, getting ready to start his first lap. So we'll be able to see the true pace of these cars around Circuit Park Zandvoort for the first time. Oh, Bo Albert getting just a little twitchy over the curb, keeping it nice and tight, just letting the car roll through that final turn. And here we go, past the grandstand, crossing the start-finish line, and beginning his first lap down to Tarzan, braking super late, almost near the 50-meter marker. He does go a little bit wide, but that's pretty much the optimal line through the corner. Make sure to stay off those curbs, Bo. Looking like, oh, a little bit of oversteer in the mid-corner. Just keeping it nice and tight through this undulating section of the circuit. Over this crest, it's very easy to lose a car over this crest. And there's just a tap of the brakes and a downshift in this very fast right-hander. And then a braking zone into a right-hand flick, and now we are off the original circuit. Can be second or third this turn, depending on what your gearing's like and what line you take. And then a turn that is a bit faster than it looks, this left-hander. The circuit very, very wide at this point. And then you come over the rise once again, over the sector line, and then braking nice and late once again. Bo Albert just clipping the curbs, keeping it nice and tight, using the way the track camber changes to his advantage as he comes out of that turn and into the final two turns, late apexing this right-hander, and then it's on the throttle, no lifting for the rest of the lap. Hugging the apex at the final turn, that is a lap of Zandvoort with Evolution Racing Team's Bo Albert. Let's see what time he has. 32.4 to start things off, but times will come flowing in very, very soon, and we'll see if that changes. Riley Blythe to the top, 1 minute 31.9. Chris Burgess going to second on a 32.3 as well.
Joseph Falcamata with a 33.3. Probably not a representative lap time, but he'll probably have another attempt and get there. Mark Peter Dean with a 32.995. That puts him fourth. Cameron Freeman going to sixth with a 33.392. AJ Bear going to seventh with a 34.692. Probably not a representative time either.
Looks like Gary Hamilton has just started his first hot lap. So he goes barreling into turn one. Now the dynamic sim racing driver Gary Hamilton, I was watching him in practice and he seemed to be really experimenting with the limits of his car as Riley Preston goes to pole for 31.7. Goodness me, Gary. That's the sort of stuff that I was seeing all throughout practice. He was playing around with the rear end of that car, just seeing what it could do. But Riley Preston currently on the top, 31.79. So we'll see what Gary Hamilton can do to respond to that. But looks like Riley and Riley, both of the same team, 1-2 on the timesheets at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. It's only early days though. Scott Newton goes straight to pole as we say that with a 31.765. So that's very close actually, with it being only a few hundredths.
Not
so
much of a difference at all.
Interesting. No, not at all. So it's going to be very close come the end of the session when they start pushing out real laps.
Looks like Riley Preston. No, we're hearing stuff from our director that is not true. Edward Van Velsen in fourth place at the moment. It looks like he's just gone fourth on a 32.2. Meanwhile, Gary Hamilton finishing his lap. We'll see what he can do here. Car number 111 going to cross the start-finish line. What can he do here? It's going to be a 32.0, so he goes to fourth place. He did lose a few tenths. Oh, there he goes. He's just got such a nervous car, it seems. Or maybe he's just pushing too hard. Either way, Mitchell McLeod.
Chris Lazarevich to pole, 31.2.
Lazarevich.
Very quick.
Yeah, that's a bit crazy there from Chris Lazarevich, another Evolution Racing Team driver. Mitch McLeod now finishing his hot lap. What can he do here? It's going to be a 32.07, so that puts him to sixth. So we've got a few drivers gearing up for hot laps. It looks like Lewis Kugerly and Dylan Shepherd are at the moment coming around to start their first flying lap. We've got Lewis Kugerly on screen right now. So he's going to cross the line and start his first hot lap. Down into turn one. Going a little bit tighter to the apex than we've seen in the past. Oh, he goes a little bit wide, but that's okay. You can late apex that corner. Now, Lewis was 9th in practice on a 32.5, so I think we're seeing we saw a shift in the timesheets up the top. It looked like Gary Hamilton just went to 4th on a 31.795. Oh my god. That's only a thousandth behind Riley Preston.
That's close.
That's just a bit crazy. And Gary Hamilton promptly goes over the curb and loses control. That we've still got Lewis on screen at the moment though, so I would expect him to be at least on the verge of the top 10 here on this lap. He will have a bit of a draft down the start-finish straight. That's from Robert Northway. Of course, he doesn't want to be too close to him through this last turn because the Formula Renault car, it is a slower Formula car, but it's still affected by aero push, so you don't want to be too close to a car. Riley Blythe to 2nd, Lewis Kugerly goes to 12th. Meanwhile, Dylan Shepherd going to 10th place on a 32.293. Scott Newton starting another lap now.
Hayden is just about to finish one just ahead of him, but doesn't go quicker. He does a 33.161.
Alrighty, so Scott Newton. Oh, goodness me,
that's a big moment.
Oh, not the start that you want to a hot lap. I think he will abandon that almost right away and just gear up for another one. Just caught the grass a little bit too much on the entry to Tarzan. So Gary Hamilton, though, still on an outlap. So I'm really interested to see how this goes up front, because not only have we got Hamilton, Preston, Newton, Blythe, and Lazarevich, we've also got McLeod in the mix as well, as Preston to third now. 31.6, the times are falling. So Gary Hamilton is going to start this hot lap. We'll see what kind of success he'll find in his assault on pole position. Of course, Chris Lazarevich coming out of nowhere with that 31.26. So I think everyone might be a little surprised by that, just wanting to see how close they can get to it. Looking like a very smooth lap from Gary Hamilton so far, though. He has got a bit of traffic ahead of him. That is Fulton Penny. I don't think he'll prove to be too much trouble. I think he's far enough ahead that he won't interfere too much.
He's looking like he's more than far enough ahead to not cause too much of an issue for Gary.
Yeah, Hamilton seems to be suffering from a bit of understeer. He's run a little bit wide at just about every corner in that last section so far. Oh, and just twitching at the apex. Yeah, that's something that not many drivers are fans of. Sometimes it can help you, a little bit of mid-corner rotation. But in this case, it hampered Gary Hamilton's chance of pole position, which he's definitely proven he's good enough for. McLeod, meanwhile, off in the dirt right at the end. Riley Preston, though, starting a lap. There's only 4.5 minutes left in this session. It's gone by very quickly, Cam.
Yeah, it definitely is. It's absolutely flown by. Just unreal how quick it is. And we've got some definitely quick times as well, and very close times as well, to say the least. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens in the race.
Yeah, Riley Preston, though, currently on a hot lap with Mitch McLeod just ahead of him.
Lock-up.
Yeah, looks like there's a little bit of dust on the track there. I'm not sure if my eyes were deceiving me. But Mitch McLeod promptly gets out of the way of Riley Preston. Over the rise he goes. Let's see how well he can hook up the apex of this turn, hugging the inside beautifully. Fantastic line from Preston. Taking as much of the turn as he can, just bouncing off the curb. This is looking like a very clean lap from Riley so far. Excellent traction out of the left-hander. Down the straight he goes. All right, hard on the brakes for the chicane. Let's see what he can do here. Just taking a bit more of the curb to keep the front end just working to his liking.
He's got this lap fairly well hooked up by the looks of it, apart from that lock-up earlier in the lap at turn 4. But otherwise, looking pretty clean.
Yeah, well, now it's just a waiting game and shifting up through the gears down the start-finish straight. What can Riley Preston do here? It'll be a
31.5.
So that's no improvement in terms of placing on the timesheets, but still, not too far off his teammate Blythe.
Yeah, definitely. He's definitely closed that gap up.
He's gained a spot. He's jumped Scott Newton to 4th place. So that's an improvement from Gary Hamilton. Chris Burgess currently on screen, gearing up to start a lap, I believe. No, he's finishing a lap, but that's going to be an off track. So that's put paid to that. So now currently on screen, Robert Northway, currently in 19th place on a 34.6. So he'll be looking to improve somewhat. Of course, no time on the timesheets in practice. He was a very late joiner, so it remains to be seen what he can do. Didn't look like he quite had the front end hooked up in those last couple of corners. But it's a 34.539, so again, no improvement for him, but he gets a little bit closer to Jamie McKnight. So, finishing a lap at the moment, Gary Hamilton. One more try of probably 2 left. Oh no! There we go. That's that done. Into the wall hard. Won't
Yeah,
have
I'd say
time
his
to go
session's over.
around. Yeah. Oh, Fulton Penny
Ooh.
just losing control. Meanwhile, Chris Burgess is about to start a lap. So we'll have a look at what he can do. Chris Burgess currently in 9th place. So just on the tail end of the top 10. The times are still very close, though. If he can just find 2/10, he'll be able to jump all the way up to 6th place.
Yeah, definitely he will do, and that's just showing how competitive and close it is at the moment of qualifying.
All right, well, Chris Burgess starting his lap, so this is going to be his final chance at an assault on pole position for round 4 of the New Zealand and Australian iRacing Formula Renault 2.0 Championship. Hooray, I got it right. So Chris Burgess taking a very wide line through the hairpin. Of course, as we have said a few times around this track, it doesn't really mean much if you go a little bit wide. Over the rise, hooks up that apex beautifully. And the checkered flag is now out, so any driver on a lap now, this is going to be their final chance. Oh, a little bit of a slide from Chris Burgess.
Oh, he's
Tax
held it.
slapper.
He needs to abandon that lap.
Riley Preston, though, currently on a lap to finish off this session. This is going to be his final chance to see if he can snap pole from Chris Lazarevich.
No, that lap's done.
That's done, indeed. Dylan Shepherd on screen at the moment. We'll see what he can do. He's currently coming through the back half of the circuit. He's only got a few turns left to go. Shepherd currently in 10th. He was unable to match his time from practice, which put him 5th. So Shepherd's definitely got pace. Remains to be seen if he'll be able to extract it in these final few moments of the qualifying session. So he's coming up to the penultimate turn now. And this is one of those make or break turns. It's very bumpy on the inside, but you can cut that curb quite a bit and gain a chunk of time. Looks like Shepherd's managed to hook it up, though. Out onto the start-finish straight. Dylan Shepherd's final attempt at a qualifying lap is about to come to an end. What is the time going to be? He's improved to a 32.105, and that's going to put him in 7th. Excellent lap from Dylan Shepherd, but Chris Lazarevich leading an ERT 1-2-3 as Lewis Kugali looks to be done.
Coming into the pit lane, yep.
Always a good idea to practice a pit entry, even if a pit stop is not required. And the starting grid is on screen. Well, what a session for Evolution Racing Team. Their drivers are 1, 2, 3. That's Chris Lazarevich, Riley Blythe, and Riley Preston, your top 3, with Dynamic Sim Racing's Gary Hamilton in 4th place, Scott Newton for Apex Racing UK in 5th place, while Torque Inc.'s Mitchell McLeod lines up 6th. 7th is Dylan Shepherd for One Performance Racing with AJ Bear 8th, and the top 10 is rounded out by Edward Van Velsen and Chris Burgess.
Then we go back to 11th to 20th is Mark Peter Dean, Bo Albert, Lewis Kugley, Fulton Penny, Joseph Falcomato, Cameron Freeman, Corey Green, Jamie McKnight, Robert Northway, and Steve Hoppert.
Jordan McDonnell not having the best qualifying session, having not set a time in 21st position, and Griffin Gardner disconnected from the server a few moments ago. So that leaves Benny Giel as the last driver on your starting grid. So now it's time to get ready to go racing, and we're hearing word from our director that Jordan McDonnell is not racing tonight, unfortunately. So that's it looks like there might be 21 cars taking to the grid tonight for this 30-lap race around Circuit Park Zandvoort. So we're keeping our eyes now on the clock. So once everyone joins up and the clock runs out, the revs are going to rise. We'll get ready to go. This is a very interesting grid at Zandvoort. The grid spaces are not exactly in line with each other, so there's always a little bit of space you can see past your opponent. And coming down to the start, those drivers on the left-hand side, drivers left of the circuit, are going to have the advantage coming into Tarzan because they'll be able to get the traction on just a little bit earlier.
Yeah, definitely. They're on the optimal racing line, so they're going to have definitely a little bit more grip off the start.
Well, the 2-minute mark is about to cross. There it is. So that's the gridding time over. And now the revs are going to rise. Chris Lazarevich is going to lead the way. We are green. Looks like a pretty clean start from everyone so far. The drivers are going to fan out. And Evolution Racing Team 1, 2, 3 into turn 1 at Zandvoort. Pretty clean up the front. Let's see how the rest of the field goes.
Everybody's made it through turn 1 by the looks of it.
Fantastic, but now we've got a bit of a choke point here. Turns 2, 3, and 4.
Oh,
we've already got a car off. That's
someone else is in the wall.
That's Edward Van Velsen. So unfortunately, that's put paid to his lap one. It looks like we've got more up the back. Yeah, Robert Northway and Cameron Freeman involved in that. So, wow, very unfortunate for all of those guys. Not what you want to see. Meanwhile, Shepherd and McLeod and Hamilton. It's looking really racy already outside the top 4. So close here. Looks like Shepherd's got a little bit of a run on McLeod. He's going to have to late apex this turn, get on the throttle nice and hard, but it looks like McLeod is going to hold station. Have a look at Shepherd, though. We might see him fire one up the inside. McLeod moves over to cover him, but Shepherd goes up the inside. Is McLeod going to try and... Whoa, goodness me! Nearly rear-ending Shepherd. That was some really good car control from both of those guys not to have that end in tears. But now Mitch McLeod has got Scott Newton right on his tail, and they've got a big, long straight ahead of them. Scott Newton might just draft past McLeod here. Coming out of the final turn, he's already got a run on him. Have a look at this. Scott Newton coming up the inside into turn 1, but McLeod is going to have the advantage on the outside of the bank. Turn 1. Look at McLeod's draft on Shepherd. Scott Newton going up the inside of McLeod.
Oh, side by side through turn.
Dear.
Oh, he's going to have to back out of it here at turn 2. It's not easy to go around the outside.
Yes, certainly is, but Newton is going to try and do it anyway. McLeod is trying to hold it.
He's going to do it, and he's got him back.
Oh, and Newton's
But no,
almost
he's still
holding
going.
around the outside. Fantastic racing already. This is brilliant. Awesome driving from all of those guys there. That's what we want to see.
Absolutely, that's just awesome.
Have a look at Newton, though. He's monstering the back of McLeod. Something chronic. Especially coming up to the end of these straights. McLeod's run wide. That's going to let Newton through.
No.
Oh, no, this isn't a passing spot here. You've got to be extremely careful in this part of the circuit. It's so easy to get one up the inside, but whether or not you can hold it without both cars going off is a different story entirely. Oh, McLeod sliding. Yep, and Newton is going to go through on the outside, a corner exit, which is going to give him the inside. And have a look at AJ Bear.
He's going to follow him through.
Yeah, we'll see. Can McLeod do... Looks like Bear is going to hold back. Smart move.
Wait till the straight.
Yep, that's always the best. Look at this long string of cars. Like, the cars are getting spaced out a little bit, but nonetheless, the racing that we've seen in these first 2 laps has been absolutely incredible. Hopefully this keeps up.
Absolutely, it's been absolutely awesome with guys going side by side through some very tricky corners and also being very close with the draft and everything. So it's hopefully going to continue, and we hopefully see some more great battles throughout the rest of the race.
Mark Dean and Edward Van Velsen fighting very hard. Sorry to interrupt you, Cam. Coming out of turn 1, Van Velsen commencing his fight back up through the field. Looks like Scott Newton's off. Oh no!
Oh, he's done something here.
Yeah. Oh, he's going to lose quite a few positions there. Looks like he's damaged the front wing a little bit. We are going to get a replay of that. See what happened to Scott Newton. Currently on screen. Looks like...
Oh, just some snap over steering the upper wall as well.
That looks like a tiny hit, but in a car like this, it means a lot. But Scott Newton currently looking to pass. Looks to be Lewis Kugeley there, who has been having a couple of internet issues, it seems, on this lap so far. A little bit of a blinky bill, which is not confidence-inspiring. Looks like Kugeley is just going to let Newton by. Meanwhile, Mitch McLeod is the proverbial cork in a bottle. Have a look at the pack behind him. Absolutely fantastic here at the moment. So who's behind him? That's so it looks like Chris Lazarevich has set the fastest lap of the race. Meanwhile, a 31.9. So that they're already in the 31s here. Riley Preston a 31.8. Fantastic stuff from the three ERT teammates holding station at the top of the field. But behind Mitch McLeod, we've got AJ Bear and then Bo Albert and Chris Burgess very close together. Looks like they're just holding station fine at the moment. Nothing too dramatic. So already coming up to a sixth of the way through this race, and Chris, Riley and Riley up the front are looking very clean. They'll probably be under orders not to race each other too hard, but nonetheless, it would be nice if they had a boys have at it thing at the end.
Yeah, I think the smart thing to do would just be work together and pull away from the rest of the field, and then once you're in the final few laps, then go hard and every man for himself, pretty much.
Yep, have a look, though, at Bo Albert on screen, and behind him, he's got Chris Burgess and Edward Van Velsen. Meanwhile, Fulton Penny has stopped on track. I think he's had an off.
He's looped it out of the banked corner.
Yeah, he just went over that anti-cut device on the inside of the turn, and that just sent his car around. Very unfortunate, but Van Velsen and Burgess currently side by side. Have a look at Burgess.
No, Van Velsen's backed out of it. Smart move.
Yeah, Van Velsen looks to have damage to his front right, so he'll be lacking downforce. Well, it hasn't really hurt his run on Chris Burgess, though. They're going to go side by side through the fastest part of the circuit. Hold on, boys. Take care as you come over the crest. Oh, and round the outside goes Edward Van Velsen. Magnificent pass.
Definitely, that's quite a move to do it there, especially with the fact that it's downhill and also not really too cambered, so you're kind of at a bit of a disadvantage doing that sort of a move, but he's got the move done, so
yeah,
credit
with a
to him on
broken
that.
front wing to boot.
That too, so it's even better of a pass to have done that.
Well, one thing that has done is it's given Bo Albert a bit of breathing room from behind anyway, but he's right on the back of AJ Bear as they're coming through the final sector. So let's just compare lap times. It looks like they're very close. Bo Albert, a 33.011 on the last lap, a 0.56 from AJ Bear on the last lap. Bo Albert has the run here, getting the inkling of a slipstream coming through the final turn. He moves out. Yep, let's see if he can hold it up the inside. It looks like AJ Bear just... wow, that's quite the straight line speed Bo Albert has got. And coming out of the pits just behind them, who is that? That's Steve Hoppett coming out of the pits. Looks like he's just stopped and let the field by. So Bo Albert now is free to pursue Mitch McLeod, who is a couple of seconds in front of him, but we've seen what kind of pace Bo Albert has. We'll see if he can catch up to McLeod in the intervening laps. So we're currently on lap 6.
Lazarevich has lost the lead.
Oh, really? Oh, goodness me, yes. He's going side by side here with Riley Blythe. What's going on here?
He's had a big run heading into the turn 7, I think it is.
And Riley Preston's got damage to his front wing. What happened? We're going to get a replay of that, guys. It looks like the damage to Preston's front wing was pre-existing. But Lazarevich, how would you be losing the lead like that?
Yeah, that's probably a bit frustrating with the mistake that it was. So, but he's probably going to recover it back with the speed that he's got.
Yeah, certainly, but it's one of those really annoying incidents. He was lucky to hold that actually when you turn in and the car's just unloaded and you touch the grass and around you go. But the battle up the front, Dylan Shepherd, meanwhile, with Bo Albert, it looks like Shepherd's fallen back. So Shepherd's obviously had an incident of some kind while we've been looking at what happened to Lazarevic, and Shepherd now behind Bo Albert. And it looks like, Shepherd's just wanted to get past Bo. Yeah, he just wasn't able to take advantage of it, though. Look out, though. He has a little bit of a slipstream.
Here he goes.
Yeah.
He's going to try it around the outside. No, he's going to dive to the inside. Here we go, side by side.
Yeah.
He's going to hold it. They're still side by side.
Yikes.
He's managed to hold it. Still, they're side by side.
Wow.
But he's got it done here.
Awesome racing there. Very good from both of those drivers to keep it clean. How's Bo Albert's gain in positions, though, from 12th up to 7th? Fantastic job from Bo to stay out of trouble. Meanwhile, it looks like Bear, Van Velsen, and Burgess are close together behind him. Have a look at Van Velsen on the back of Bear. He might go for a move here. Oh, it's tempting, but he's going to wait for the straight. So, meanwhile, Hamilton's gotten ahead of Lazarevic as well, which is bizarre. What happened to Lazarevic now? Obviously, another incident of some kind. Meanwhile, Preston does the fastest lap of the race, a 31.81.
Lazarevic straight up the inside of Gary Hamilton. Big move.
Hamilton had to unwind the steering a little bit. Meanwhile, Van Velsen and Bear. Looks like Van Velsen's been able to get by, and Burgess is going to get by AJ Bear as well, or is he? We'll see how they can...
Just about contact.
That was so close. Fortunately, they managed to keep it together. Corey Green, meanwhile...
Oh, Van Velsen's gone around.
The final corner. What?
Van Velsen's gone around.
It's on for young and old here, bringing out the scathing quotes. We're going to get a replay of Green's spin and Van Velsen's.
Similar thing to what Newton did just about.
Oh, yeah. Just getting up on that exit curb and the car just snaps the other way. Very annoying from the driver's perspective. So, Corey Green looks like another case of just catching the outside.
Oh, and Shepherd's run wide as well.
Oh, no. Goodness me, they're messing up all over the place here. So, while we're checking out these replays, we've got a replay of Green here. Just running wide at the last couple of turns, and it looks like Shepherd has just had a really interesting spin.
Oh, McCarthy, the big shot!
Oh my goodness me. It's all happening at the moment. I don't think replays are even worth it at the moment. Everything's happening.
Yeah.
We're back live. Mitch McLeod has done the same thing that Green did, just run wide between the final two turns and just completely shunted himself into the wall, and now he's having major trouble keeping that car on track with no downforce coming from that front wing. Meanwhile, Lazarevic has made his way back to second, just passing Riley Blythe. They're very close up the front here, the ERT teammates.
Apparently no team order, so it's every man for himself.
Yep. Consider me corrected. I tell you what, how about Gary Hamilton, though? He's managed to stay with these guys.
Yeah, he definitely has. He's been driving fairly well to keep up with these Evolution Racing Team guys. They've been fairly quick, and he's been managing to hold his own, so it'll be interesting to see what happens come later in the race.
Yes, indeed. Looks like, of course, due to Shepherd's incident, he just lost the rear a tiny bit. He's fallen back behind Bo Albert, so we're going to see a repeat of what happened between them a few laps ago soon. That is, if Shepherd is able to maintain pace. I somehow doubt that he'll be completely there, though, because the front right is looking a little worse for wear. Meanwhile, McLeod and Joseph Falcamada. So, Falcamada, down in the field a bit, but because McLeod has damage, he has the pace advantage. Have a look there at the gain he's getting through the final corner. McLeod just struggling for front-end grip, and McLeod is going to go for
front wing, I'd
this.
say.
Yep, so Falcomata is going to go on through, and that is going to put him into position 11. Gary Hamilton, meanwhile, on the back of Riley Blythe.
Yeah, Blythe seems to have lost a bit of time to Lazarevich there. Not
Have a look
sure
at Hamilton.
why. Is Hamilton's going to try and go around the outside?
Oh boy,
Not quite.
it's so tempting, but he didn't have quite as much of a run.
Come back. Ooh, get a look.
Meanwhile, Scott Newton's setting the fastest.
Oh, and Lazarevich is off.
Oh,
Way off.
goodness me! How did he hold that? Who's off there? Chris Lazarevich is off the track again. He went off the track just in front of them. So, Bo Albert, meanwhile, getting passed by Dylan Shepherd. What happened to Lazarevich this time? He just ran a little bit wide
onto the grass and then understood straight ahead.
Flipped the wall a tiny bit as well, but interestingly, no visual damage showing up on his car, at least on my screen. So, a good overtake from Dylan Shepherd, by the way. Yeah, that's a textbook move there at that penultimate chicane. So wow.
It's been no stopping tonight.
No, certainly not.
Where are the 10 laps in?
Look at Gary Hamilton. Oh! Around the outside. He's going to get this. He might just get on the
he's going to hold it. It's going to be close. Here we go. Oh, there's a bit of contact.
Oh,
he's managed to go around the outside, though.
Yep, he holds it. He holds it.
What's Blythe's going to come back?
Oh,
it's just held on.
Little bit of biffo between them, but hey, I mean... That was a fantastic bit of racing there, but have a look. Blythe might come back on Hamilton here. Look at the draft.
Here he comes. He's going to look up the inside. That's very close to contact, but Hamilton holds on.
You don't want... Oh, goodness me. I'm losing track of my... of what I was planning to say. I don't even know if I should plan anything, man. This is too much. So much is happening at once. Look at Blythe once again. He's going to try and send one right up the inside.
Oh, and Hamilton sideways and he's lost in front of Blythe and also Lazarevich, but Lazarevich has avoided it.
Oh, goodness me. Hamilton doing well to recover, but unfortunately that has lost him a position again, so it looks like nobody wants to be second in this one.
No.
Goodness me. So Riley Blythe is now going to assume or reassume second place in this race. My brain is now deep fried with pickles.
Yeah, it's just all over the place. All sorts happening.
So, looking back in the field, 6th and 7th, Bo Albert and Chris Burgess look to be coming closer together. Looks like Dylan Shepherd just hasn't quite been able to shake Albert.
Yeah, he's been holding on, so...
Uh-oh, sliding.
Oh, no.
That's brought him back in contention here. Once again, it's just the little loss of grip on the rear, and it turns into a slide that ends up losing you a big chunk of time.
Yeah, definitely. These guys are going to have to think about their tyres a little bit.
Yeah, I would think so. Albert's just able to stay in touch, though. Oh, touches the grass a little bit. Oh, he'd have a little bit of dirt on his tyres that would put paid to any grip he'd have on the left-hand side, but looks like he's managed to keep it together. So this little three-car train, Shepherd, Albert, and Burgess. Looking forward to seeing what becomes of that. Is there anyone else close together at the moment? It looks like Lazarevich has repassed Riley Blythe, so once again, reassuming second place. Looks like the closest battle at the moment is the Shepherd-Albert Burgess battle, and it looks like Burgess has fallen off ever so slightly. Have a look here down the front stretch.
I'd say Albert's going to get a move made here, I reckon.
Yeah, we'll see. Shepherd is going to preemptively move to the inside, to the middle of the circuit. He knows that Albert is coming.
Albert dives to the inside. Oh, no, never mind.
So Shepherd just staying a little bit wide, getting himself on that grippy track to get a good exit. They get so close through this turn. Oh no, Albert's run a little bit wide. Meanwhile, Mitch McLeod has stopped once again. He's spun at the final corner, so he's just got going again. Real shame for Mitch after starting sixth. He is not having a very good race at all.
No, he's just been making a few silly mistakes, unfortunately, and that's cost him quite a few positions.
Indeed it has. Well, Albert and Shepherd still close together, and it looks like Burgess has managed to catch back up to the train a little bit. And have a look behind them, who's gaining on them slightly. AJ there, and he's got Mark Dean just behind him, and they're followed by Lewis Kugerly. So who knows if these guys will manage to close up over the course of the next few laps. We're almost at the halfway point of the race.
Yeah, definitely could possibly close that gap up. I'm not sure what lap times they're doing each, but I'd say with AJ being not too bad of a driver, he should be able to catch up to these guys.
Yeah, it looks like AJ's last lap was 7/10 faster than Chris's, as Chris goes a 32.389, 33.348 from AJ. So the gap's gone back out a little more, but so we got 2 3-car trains here. We've got Shepherd, Albert, and Burgess, and then we've got Bear, Dean, and Kugerly.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
those are the battles
So it's definitely interesting to see. Going to be interesting to see how these battles form out. As Albert actually looks like he's closed up a little bit more on Shepherd.
Yeah, he has the top four is fairly spaced out at the moment, so I don't think we will be seeing much change from them if they can keep it on the track. Have a look at Albert under brakes, though. That's what I'm noticing. Albert is a lot better under brakes than Shepherd is, but Shepherd just manages to get him a little bit on corner exit.
Yeah, possibly the way that these guys have their car set up might be just slightly different in that Albert possibly has a little bit more downforce, but enough so he can have enough straight line speed. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how Albert can combat that corner exit loss of grip.
Yeah, certainly, especially at a circuit like Zandvoort, where out of that chicane and out of the hairpins, the way that you get on the throttle is extremely important.
Yeah, definitely.
Straight. Indeed. Once again, Shepherd going to the inside. Just weaving a bit down the straight. Nothing wrong with that. Have a look at Blythe under brakes again. Really closes up, but as we say that, Shepherd is just able to get on the throttle a little bit better. So we are officially at the halfway point of the race. And it looks like we will... I'm wondering if this race will be time certain. We're hearing no. Just about bang on 45 minutes, we're hearing, so...
If it isn't, it will be very close.
Yeah, certainly will. Top four once again. Very spaced out. So it looks like Shepherd and Albert are the closest two cars on track as it stands right now. As we see Burgess just going off in the background. Bear, Kugerly, and Dean basically equidistant at the moment. Meanwhile, Riley Pleston, what am I saying? The fastest lap of the race, a 31.592. So they're getting close to qualifying pace here.
Yeah, definitely. With the fuel burning off, it will be definitely starting to see the times drop. Also a bit more rubber going down as well, so slightly a little bit more grip, but also the heat will be starting to go into the track as well, so a little bit of a yes and no to there being more grip, but also less grip at the same time.
Yeah, certainly. Putting rubber down on the track is a bit of a black art, really. It's hard to tell whether or not it will end up making the car grippier, faster, etc., but hey, as a driver, you have to adapt to the conditions, and looks like the top guys are doing that beautifully.
Yeah, definitely. It's all about being how quick you can adapt and how well you can adapt at the end of the day. So you don't see the likes of the guys that are currently at the front, like Lazarevich, Blythe, Preston, and those sort of guys being up there for just pure talent.
Yeah, certainly not. It's all about consistency and adaptability as well. Speaking of consistency, Riley Preston, he's just he's been hovering around those mid 31s quite a bit this race. He's just done a 31.648, which isn't far off his fastest lap, so he's managing his race very well at the moment.
Yeah, he definitely is. Just being consistent and holding his own. No need to really put caution to the wind yet with the gap that he's got. So yeah, he's just holding station and doing his own little thing.
Bo Albert, meanwhile, fell back from Dylan Shepherd a little bit. Just had a look on lap 16 at the last turn. A little bit of an oversteer moment at the apex, just took too much curb. Meanwhile, Lewis Kugerly and Mark Dean are closing up.
On AJ Beer as well, they're closing up on. So this could turn into a 3-car train, I reckon.
Yep, really looking forward to this. We haven't seen... It's been a slow burner, this race, since the volcanic eruption of the first 5 or 6 laps. But we might see it pick up very, very shortly. Oh dear. Oh, Kugerly just losing control.
Big moment.
Really big moment from him. What on earth happened there? It was just, I think he braked just a little too late and got himself crossed up on exit. Nonetheless, have a look at Dean on Bear. We might see a move down the straight. And meanwhile, Chris Burgess catching Bo Albert. Albert around.
Oh, he's hit the wall as well.
In the final turn, and he has escaped back to the garage.
He's just gone onto the gravel, and that's it. Just into the wall he goes.
Mark Dean,
a bit of a hit as well.
AJ Bear. Looks like Mark Dean has just gone by Bear into the first turn, and now Kugerly right on the back of Bear.
Yeah, he's all over him at the moment. Definitely should make it past it, I'd say, turn 6. If not, just after it.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see what Kugerly can do in these circumstances. It's been demonstrated that the safest place to attempt a pass is down the straight and into the first turn, but you can stick a car up the inside almost anywhere around here. Whether or not you'll be successful at completing the pass depends really on the other driver and how aware they are of you. So, in the midst of all of that, Lazarevich set the fastest lap of the race, a 31.54. So, he's once again quite the pacey one, showing why he got pole. So, lap time comparison for this lap. Riley Preston did a 31.568 and a 31.4 for Lazarevich. He betters his fastest race lap time once again. So, stonking pace from Chris. Unfortunately, unfortunately, one ERT car is out of this race. Looks like Bo Albert just sitting in the pits doing nothing, which is a real shame for him.
Yeah, definitely. Not quite the way you want to be ending your birthday, but he was doing quite well otherwise.
Yeah, he certainly was. Looks like Kugerly and Bear are still locked together at the moment. Kugerly hasn't been able to pass him.
Kugerly also definitely has the pace to get by, so be interesting to see when we see this pass full position into 8th.
Indeed it will. Looks like these are the two closest guys on track right now. Everyone else is either out or very far away from the next car up the track. Having said that, Falcomata and Van Velsen are very close together, and Gary Hamilton is closing up on Riley Blythe, so it's quite a bit of ebb and flow this race.
Yeah, definitely.
Have a look at Hamilton, a 32.1 versus... I'm clicking the wrong button, versus a 32.2 for Riley Blythe.
He's definitely been coming back into this, so I'd say if he keeps his pace up, he's definitely
Kugeli
going to be
is
able to get into the
past
rear
Bear.
and get by. Yes, he has actually. I've just seen that now.
AJ Bear doesn't seem to have much straight line speed compared to the drivers around him, which is unfortunate. They're getting by him before the braking zone for turn 1.
Yeah, possibly AJ just running slightly too much front wing or downforce overall compared to the guys around him. So, yeah, a bit unfortunate, but he's been consistent and he's been in the top 10 all race. So, I'd say we'll call that a success.
Yep. Another success is Gary Hamilton in his pursuit of Riley Blythe. He is now right on the back of him.
With 9 laps to go next time by, I'd say it's going to get very heated.
Oh yeah, I certainly think so. Blythe and Hamilton, both very skilled drivers. Blythe so close to just going on the outside of the track and spinning. Meanwhile, Kugeli off the track. So he's lost a couple of spots. He is now back to 11th. So shame for him. A replay of what happened to Kugeli.
Yeah, he's just lost the back end and then overcorrected by the looks of it.
Yeah. It seems to be the typical story in this race. Got to be very careful with how you correct this car. Hamilton jumping around a little bit as we go back live. Oh, that's concerning, seeing Hamilton blink like that.
Yeah, it's definitely not ideal from both our point of view, and also it's probably worse from Riley's point of view, knowing that the guy behind you is blinking and possibly going to try and make a move at some point.
Yeah, and of course, there's no look behind key in iRacing as there is in other racing games, so Riley just has his mirrors to rely on. I'm wondering if Hamilton might be biding his time until the last couple of laps or so to make a move. I think I might be proven wrong. Have a look at how close they are coming into the penultimate turns. This is going to be a slipstream move for sure.
Yeah, definitely. He's going to make it at the end of at turn 1 here. He's going to go outside as Blythe goes defensive into turn 1 down the front stretch.
Yep, here we go. They are side by side. Hamilton is ahead, but Blythe may gain a little in the mid-corner.
Yes, got by. Oh, Hamilton's going to come back and try and go up the inside. That's very close to contact.
Yeah, extremely close, but it looks like positions stay as they were just a couple of corners ago. Oh, Blythe, careful over that turn. The curb, sorry. It's a curb, not a turn. Mouth and brain not connected, but Gary Hamilton, have a look at
Oh,
him.
that's close.
So close to just ripping off his front wing there. These are open wheelers.
Yeah, you can't really afford to do the old bump and run.
Look at Blythe just taking that late apex. It's giving him a tiny bit of an advantage down the straight, but Hamilton just having a lot more grip through that corner, and he is able to stay right with him, just weaving around in his mirrors. We see that tactic in V8 Scops all the time. The driver just weaving around behind the person he is pursuing, giving them a little wake-up call. Hello, here I am. I intend to pass you at some point. Meanwhile, fastest lap once again, Riley Preston, a 31.333. And here we go. Blythe moving to the inside down the front straight. Hamilton on the outside once again. Is he going to try and get him under brakes? They're going to hold it. Oh, Hamilton's
still on the
just
outside. They're going to go
he's
too
maintained
wide
it.
through turn 3 again.
Oh, Hamilton.
But
Oh,
right
there we
on
go.
something. He's almost hit the fence. Very lucky.
Very lucky. But it looks like while this has been going on, Dylan Shepherd has been passed by Chris Burgess. I wonder what happened there. So it looks like Shepherd is in hot pursuit of Burgess. Got a big pace advantage, it seems, at least from the couple of corners I've currently seen of them.
Yeah, definitely. But Shepherd's closed right onto the back of Burgess here. Could possibly make a move.
Yeah,
what he's going to do,
Burgess,
Burgess actually lets him go.
Yeah. Fair enough. I'm going to go back and have a little look at what happened to Shepherd, actually, because he's been behind Burgess for a lap or two, actually. It looks like he ran wide at the chicane. Yeah, took a bit too much curb and just ran wide. He did tag the wall a tiny bit. Meanwhile, AJ Bear versus Edward Van Velsen. They're on the fringe of the top 10 right now. And Van Velsen has had quite the eventful race. And the fastest lap goes once again to Chris Lazarevich. It looks like him and Riley Preston are trading blows a little bit when it comes to lap times. A 31.314 from Lazarevich. But Van Velsen, the race that he has had, after his lap 1, I would have just parked it personally, but have a look at him now on the inside of Bear down the start-finish straight, showing once again that Bear just does not have the straight line speed that everyone else does.
Yeah, that's just... Yeah, not... It must be a downforce thing that he must be running just slightly too much compared to everybody else.
Well, there we go. Edward Van Velsen back up to 8th, and he is officially a position ahead of where he started. So, at this point in the broadcast, it's probably a good time to go for an onboard lap with our race leader, Riley Preston. Of course, successful open wheel sim racer. Let's have him take you around Zandvoort. A smooth and measured but committed lap of Circuit Park Zandvoort, courtesy of Riley Preston, a 31.361. So not quite close to Chris Lazarevich's fastest lap, but hey, bloody close.
Yeah, definitely. It was a very, very nice lap as well. Yes, Lazarevich goes quicker.
Goodness me, a 2.73. That is absolutely ridiculous pace from Chris, but going back further in the field, during the onboard lap with Riley Preston, it was noted that Mark Dean is catching up to Dylan Shepherd and Chris Burgess. So this might become a 3-car battle very soon. Have a look at Chris, though. He's got a little bit of a draft from Shepherd.
Oh, apparently Scott Newton's out of the race as well.
Oh no.
He's had a bit of a moment on lap 22.
That is a real shame for Scott Newton, having started in 5th. Absolutely not where you want to be.
No, that's real unfortunate.
Chris Burgess is staying with Dylan Shepherd to quite a degree. Have a look at them there, taking a much wider, much narrower, entry into the left-hander. Oh no, might have braked just a little too late, but Shepherd saw him coming. Oh my lord.
Oh, here we go. Oh, here we go. It's going to come back at him.
Yeah, and Burgess is just going to let Shepherd back by, redress that.
I'm just going to let Mark Pettidine do it as well.
Wow, okay. So, not too sure what happened there. I think Chris Burgess just got on the anchors a little later than he'd have liked to. Meanwhile, Chris Lazarevich, slow down, mate. He did a... Wait a minute. A 1:37.3. 6 seconds off the pace. What happened? Okay. Let's have a look at what happened there. He must have had another off. Yep, he went off at the final 2 turns on lap 26.
Yeah, he went well wide actually, just about ending up at the marshal's post.
Oh yeah, he did well to avoid that, but yeah, we've got a replay on screen of that. Just went through the penultimate turn a little too quickly and got caught up on the curb on the exit, and once those left-hand tyres were off, there's just no way you can get back onto the track. Well, we're back live. Shepherd, Dean, Burgess. This is the closest battle on track at the present time.
Be about 3 laps to go next time by for these guys as well, so the laps are ticking down, so they're running out of time.
Yeah, they certainly are. It's got... Tell you what, Dean is absolutely on a charge right now. Look at how much he's closed onto Shepherd. Having said that, he made a little bit of a mistake and just lost ground to him, and that's allowed Burgess to come back up to the back of him. Oh, Shepherd's gone wide.
Ooh, that's close.
So all 3 of these guys have been making mistakes in the last few laps, so be interesting to see how they do as they inched ever closer to the white flag. So Riley Preston just crossed the line with 2 to go. 1:30 left on the clock for the race time, so they will definitely make the full 30 laps. Have a look at the the drafting game going on down the front straight. Of course, Dean versus Shepherd, it's stretched out again. Have a look at Burgess on the back of Dean, though. Wow, he managed to gain quite a bit through turn 1 and under brakes. Now Dean's having to go a little bit defensive on Burgess. Oh, just getting closer and
Burgess,
closer.
oh, that was very close.
Right up the inside, and that's going to be a pass. At least an attempted one. Oh, have a look at Dean. Almost went into Burgess at the apex. Burgess just leaving enough on the outside. Oh, they almost locked wheels. Almost locking wheels, but Chris Burgess is going to run wide on exit. That's probably going to let Dean back through a little bit. They're going to be really close through this turn. Have a look at Burgess on exit. Dean's going to have the run. However, Burgess is going to stay to the inside. He's going to have the advantage coming into this section, but have a look at the way that they're weaving around behind each other. Fantastic stuff, but Dean has lost the position officially to Burgess now. And Riley Preston is currently on his final lap of the race. But we'll wait and see how this turns out. This is going to be their final lap, Dean and Burgess. So Dean is going to have one final chance to try and get a top 6 out of this from an 11th place start. But Burgess has a lot to fight for as well. He started in 10th. So some really good position changes as Riley Preston is now coming through the final 2 turns. And I mean, he was obviously the best guy on the day. Unfortunately, Lazarevic was not quite able to convert his pole position pace into race-winning consistency. So Riley Preston is going to pick up the pieces and take victory here in round 4 of the New Zealand and Australian iRacing Formula Renault 2.0 Championship. And he does the fastest lap on the last lap as well, a 31.12. Chris Lazarevic is going to come across the line to take second, and Riley Blythe exiting the final turn to make it a 1-2-3 for Evolution Racing Team. I mean, I wouldn't complain about that result.
No, definitely not a awesome result for ERT there, and another good race results for those 3 as well.
So Gary Hamilton coming out of the final turn now. He's going to take a well-deserved 4th place. Of course, he made a couple of mistakes. However, he was able to keep it ahead of all the people behind him and take a good 4th place finish. Meanwhile, Dylan Shepherd has come across to take 5th, and Chris Burgess is able to hold off Dean for 7th. So as drivers coming across the line, wow, especially at the start, that was incredibly exciting.
Yeah, it definitely was an absolutely action-packed race that was, with all sorts going on and a little bit of carnage, but otherwise a very, very competitive and close race it was.
AJ Bear is going to be the final driver to cross the start-finish line on the lead lap and promptly full throttles it into the tyres in the turn 1 runoff, and his car is almost flipping over. Race results on screen. Riley Preston, your race winner, with an Evolution Racing Team 1-2-3 completed by Chris Lazarevic and Riley Blythe. Gary Hamilton in 4th, Dylan Shepherd 5th. Chris Burgess is going to make it 6th from 10th, while Mark Dean makes it 7th from 11th. Meanwhile, Edward Van Velsen finishing in 8th, with Lewis Kugerly finishing in 9th, and AJ Bear is going to round out the top 10.
Then we go back to 11th to 21st, those who finished a lap down or DNF, Joseph Falcamada in 11th. Then we go back to Scott Newton, Robert Northway, Bo Albert, Benny Gill, Hilton Penny, Mitchell McLeod, Cameron Freeman, Corey Green, Jamie McKnight, Steve Hoppett, and then the rest, Jordan McDonnell and Griffin Gardner, who did not start.
And that is your field for round 4. Well, I mean, after Suzuka, I think that's exactly the race that this series needed. An absolutely fantastic event from start to finish. And, oh, goodness me, I'm seeing in text chat that AJ Bear thought it was a 25-lap race, so he must have been fuel saving.
Yeah, that's a bit of a mistake. Whoops, but unfortunate for him. But otherwise, he did fairly well to finish in the top 10 in the end.
Yeah. Only lost 2 positions from his starting place, so I'd call that a success, regardless of how he got there.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, in terms of the championship, Cam, it looks like Kurt Stenberg is going to lose his championship lead in any case, because he didn't turn up for the race. Unfortunately, was not able to get home from work in time, which is unfortunate for him. But I feel like Dylan Shepherd will, at the very least, maintain that lead with his very good finish in fifth place. Yes, fifth place, as I click on the right window. But I tell you what, Evolution Racing Team will definitely be making a statement here with this 1-2-3 finish, and Riley Preston, having not done a race in this series before, Gary Hamilton as well, they'll be looking to see what they can do towards the end of the season.
Yeah, definitely. They're going to be a fighting force in this championship if they continue to do majority of the rounds, and they'll probably very well dominate it if they continue to have the results that they did tonight.
Mm-hmm. Riley Blythe is definitely going to get a few positions out of that because, of course, Joseph Falcamata finishing down the order, Jordan McDonnell not starting, and Mitch McLeod retiring from this round, with Ryan O'Sullivan and Wayne Burke not turning up for this round. So Blythe stands to gain quite a bit from this round of the championship. So Riley Preston joins us in the booth. Riley, congratulations on that win. How does it feel?
Hey guys, how you going? Yeah, pretty good. Didn't really get much in the way of preparation for the race, just kind of jumped in. And qualifying was a bit of a mess with all the traffic. I'm not really used to that, but still got a fairly decent start to the race. And I think, unfortunately, Chris made a few mistakes ahead of me, which made it a bit easier for me, but still, it was a fun race.
Still a 1-2-3 for Evolution Racing Team, possibly the best result you could have asked for.
Yeah, for sure. It's not a bad result at all.
Well, either way, I believe this is the first round of the championship that you've done so far. Will we see you at future rounds?
We'll see. I mean, I'm not really fighting for the championship, but if I'm not working, I'll definitely jump in and have a go.
Fantastic stuff, Riley. Well, thank you very much for joining us for that little interview. And yeah, hopefully we see you at the next round and see what you can do in terms of the championship standings and get some more good results for ERT.
Too easy. Thanks, guys.
Riley Preston there, the race winner for Evolution Racing Team. And it looks like a waiting interview is Riley Blythe, our third place finisher. So, Riley, welcome to the booth. We got two Rileys on the podium, slightly different spelling, obviously, but a third place. From a second place start, obviously, it would have hurt a little bit, but nonetheless, a 1-2-3 for Evolution Racing Team. You must be happy with the podium.
Oh, absolutely. I'm pretty chuffed, honestly, given the usual pace. Mr. Preston was a little lacking in practice, so I thought, oh, I may have qualified ahead of him, but I don't think I'll be quicker than him in the race. That proved to be true. So honestly, third is the best possible result I could have got, meaning I'm absolutely chuffed for Chris and Riley to back me up.
Well, Riley, I just mentioned on the broadcast that you stand to gain quite a bit in terms of the championship standings with obviously not the best reasons because, of course, your teammate Bo Albert retired from the race, so you'll gain on him quite a bit, but you should at the very least jump Mitch McLeod, Wayne Burke and Ryan O'Sullivan to, at the very least, 8th place. So you're feeling like your championship is coming alive somewhat?
Yeah, this is the start of a stronger assault on the championship. Definitely. I haven't had a good race this season yet. I had numerous issues at Okayama, resulting in a 10th place finish, and then I was too unwell to compete at Imola, and then had my fuel dramas at Suzuka. So this is the first really, good race where nothing's gone terribly wrong. So if that's indicative of the kind of results I can be expecting when I have a good day, then a championship fight could be on.
Well, hopefully more good days to come for you, Mr. Blythe. Thank you very much for joining us in the commentary box, and I suppose we'll see you at the next round in a week's time.
Absolutely. Thanks for putting on the very high quality stream. It's always great to watch stuff when you're bored the next day and you're like, oh, I wonder what else happened in the race. It's going back to watching the stream is always a good way of doing so. So, cheers.
Well, as you'll see, Riley, quite a bit else happened. It was a very good race indeed, and I think that's a good note to end this broadcast on. Thanks for joining us, Riley. We'll see you next week. But Cam, absolutely brilliant race here at Zandvoort for round 4 of the championship. I can't wait for the rest of the season if that's the kind of racing we can expect. A fantastic grid, some fantastic battles, of course. Still a few incidents here and there in the field, but that was the kind of racing that I really like to see.
Yeah, definitely. It's always good to see very close and entertaining racing like that. We've got all sorts going on for a number of laps and usually all throughout the race. So, yeah, hopefully the racing can continue for the rest of the series like that, and we have some more very entertaining racing to watch and commentate on.
Yep, certainly. Well, the fun doesn't stop here at V8's Online in the middle of the week. We are taking a break tomorrow. No IMSA broadcast on Thursday, but this weekend we are bringing you the V8 Supercar Online Premiere Series from Twin Ring Motegi. So we'll be looking forward to be seeing some more fantastic racing in one of Australia's top sim racing series with some of the best drivers in the world in sim racing competing for that title. So we'll be bringing you that plus the EMR Industries Super Cup as well. So make sure to look out for that on Sunday. Make sure to like V8's Online on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. And also keep up with us on YouTube by subscribing, and you'll be alerted whenever we go live, and you'll be able to keep up with us on various platforms. So thank you very much for joining us, and we hope to see you again very soon. My name is Reese Gardner. Joining me has been Cameron Dance, and directing Jay Kennedy. You've been watching the New Zealand and Australian iRacing Formula Renault 2.0 Championship Round 4 from Zandvoort. Your race winner, Riley Preston. You're watching V8's Online. We'll see you next time.